All right, what's up? I don't have a lot of time right now, but we got to look at this. All right, first off, got to give a big shout out to Mark Dice. And I want to give a shout out to Mark Dice for two reasons. One, for his video, Joe Rogan killed a triceratops and people aren't very happy about it. This video helped me to wake up so many people because I was able to send it to him and it's not like a political video. This is a great video. And the second reason, which will segue into our topic, is that Mark Dice is one of very few, if the only conservative that I have ever heard that's when he was talking about how Dave Rubin had the artificial baby with his husband or whatever, that he was also opposed to sperm banks. Mark Dice is very consistent on this issue, and shout out to Mark Dice. Now we're going to get into some of the developments in transhumanism. I'm not for it, but it is here. So we need to talk about it. We can ignore it, but it is here. Because how I came about this was I was going to title this video, Why the Artificial Womb is the Ultimate MGTOW Hypothetical. And while doing research for that, I came across this article here, which claims, at least, that Japan has already done an artificial womb birth. So that means it's tested, it's scientifically proven that it works. And it's here. And so the hypothetical stands, right? Because, okay, before we get too far into this, we'll read the article in a second. A lot of people have been saying that a woman can take two eggs or a woman can use an egg and create an embryo. Now, that is not entirely true. We're going to look at this article here first. Here, where it says 2 women in vitro fertilization trials, some research involves taking eggs from one woman and fertilizing them with donor sperm, then using genetic material from a second woman. Right? And then this article, I think, is no, wait, it's this one that has the chart in it. It's further down though. Oh no, it's I think, is it this one? Yeah, here we go. So this article is talking about how scientists make embryos from human skin. And then basically all they do is put the DNA from a skin cell into a dormant egg. See where it says, the Oregon Health and Science University Research Team technique takes the nucleus, which houses a copy of the entire genetic code needed to build the body, out of the skin cell. Then, this is then placed inside a donor egg that has been stripped of its genetic instructions, right? But it doesn't actually create. However, this egg is not ready to be fertilized by sperm, as it already contains a full suite of chromosomes, right? So the next stage is to persuade the egg to discard half of its chromosomes in a process researchers have termed mitomeiosis, a fusion word of mitosis and meiosis. So, see, even though they can put any chromosomes in the egg that they want, you still need a sperm. You still need a sperm. Even in all of these experiments, this one with the embryo, where it's not an actual embryo. It's just like they just take stem cells. See, they just take stem cells, and then it says it spontaneously forms an embryo-like structure. See, it's not an actual like embryo. It's just an embryo-like structure that they can do early, cellular division research on and see improving IVF type stuff like that. It's for like research purposes. It's not like going to grow into like an actual person, right? So this is the only alternative, really. We looked at the human skin cell one. Look at this one, the Y chromosome. Because people always talk about the mitochondrial DNA. But see, the Y chromosome is typically only passed from male parents to male offspring. So just like the mitochondria, the Y chromosome is only passed from male to male. Right? A woman doesn't have a Y chromosome. So you can talk about mitochondrial DNA all you want, but a woman doesn't have a Y chromosome. Only the male can determine the sex of the egg. Okay, so let's get into this article now. So we got a little bit more time. In a historic leap forward, Japan has developed an artificial womb capable of sustaining embryos outside the human body. Dubbed the Eve therapy system, this technology recreates the protective environment of a mother's womb using a biobag filled with amniotic fluid, artificial placenta functions, and a precisely regulated life support interface. This extraordinary achievement is more than just a medical curiosity. It opens the door to saving the lives of extremely premature babies, enabling vital research into fetal development, and could someday redefine the very idea of pregnancy itself. The Eve therapy system consists of a transparent biobag, oxygenators, pumps, and an umbilical cord-like tubing that mimics a placenta's nutrient exchange. Embryos or extremely premature fetuses are placed in this bag where they float in carefully balanced synthetic amniotic fluid. Okay, from lambs to humans, proof of concept. Japan's inspiration came from earlier work in the U.S., particularly in 2017, particularly a 2017 experiment where lamb fetuses were kept alive in biobags for several weeks. Japanese researchers at Juntendo University and Tokyo Medical and Dental University took this further by refining the fluid environment, increasing the system's precision, and enhancing scalability for neonatal care units. So here we go. Globally, over 15 million babies are born prematurely every year, and complications from premature births are the leading cause of death in children under 5. Babies born before 20 to 24 weeks gestation typically lack lung and brain development necessary for survival. Then they go into the ethics of it and all that stuff. So full ectogenesis would mean gestating an embryo entirely outside the human body. Remains theoretical. But Japan's artificial womb brings us closer, and the current system supports mid to late gestation. But scientists envision future devices where embryos could grow from fertilization to birth without ever entering a womb. So, this can pretty much solve the, early termination problem. Because now there's really no excuse. So, we're going to talk about the hypothetical part of it now. Now, as you can see, that this is advancing at a rapid pace. And as you can see, the cost of a family is rising. And so I'm not saying it's good, but people are looking for other ways, especially men, to have families without having to deal with the unchanging legal system where they are punished for trying to form a family. So now, I don't agree with this stuff. I think it's kind of, a little bit too far, but feminism has also gone crazy far. Now, let's say, for instance, both men and women get a hold of this technology at the same time, and then men only start creating men, and women only start creating women, and they stop creating men, right? Like, we can just run through the results of what that would look like in a lot of different ways, which I'll probably get into deeper when I come back and talk about this more. But you can just think about that and think about the hypothetical, right? And then also going back to what I was saying about Mark Dice being more consistent on the sperm bank and also any type of artificial insemination, artificial inception type of thing. It is truly unjust that a woman can go to a sperm bank without having to deal with a man, right? It should be not. If people cannot morally justify this, basically, then you cannot morally justify a sperm bank. And that's why I say Mark Dice is consistent, right? He's the most consistent motherfucker on this specific topic, right? He's saying that, they both have, children have to have both parents. End of story. It doesn't matter if it's a man trying to do it or a woman trying to do it. But right now, as it stands, a woman is allowed to do this. A woman is allowed to just walk into a sperm. I mean, you look at this and you're going, oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. But you don't think that, a popsicle pop is disgusting, right? You're not outraged. You're not like how you're looking at this and you're just out. If you're like a conservative, you're like, this is like outrage to you. It's like outrage bait, right? You're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever in existence. But what about the popsicle pop? Why don't you get as enraged when you hear about sperm banks all over the country? Women going to sperm banks, like no one even says anything about it. No one says anything about it, right? When was the last time you heard a conservative say anything about a dildo, right? They're like, oh, these guys are using this, they're doing that, right? But they never say, oh, these women are using dildos and they're buying all types of creams and lotions and this and that, right? No, never hear it. Never hear it. So, like I'm saying, this is a hypothetical. I'm going to come back and have some more kind of like more fleshed out hypothetical situations for this, but you guys can run with this and whatever you want. I mean, it's an old MGTOW topic, but I think it's time to bring it back because, might as well. So that's the video for now. I'll be back later. Talk to you then. Have a good day and peace.